Hey, how's it going, everybody? Gabriel, Santiago here. This is a Speaking of Harmony podcast, episode 59. Here's another anatomy of a song for you guys. This one in particular is the anatomy of an arrangement, right? Because I'm going to be going through a song that is not one of mine, but I had recorded very particular arrangement of the classic John Coltrane composition, Giant Steps. It's recorded in one of my quartet albums, and also had some kind of a solo version around on YouTube. And a lot of people have been asking me not only for charts but also for some kind of a breakdown of how I came up with this arrangement, right? So today is the day, right? Before we go to that, don't forget to join me in my channels. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is all my social media stuff. Don't forget to hit the notification button so you get notified when a new video comes in. Also, this video is also brought to you by my dear patrons in Patreon. Here's a link in Patreon if you want to join the gang as well. On Patreon, I'm putting tons of content over there constantly, all the time, including people get to see these videos before everybody else, and I'm doing extra things. For instance, on this particular one, I'm gonna give them the actual chart of this arrangement so they can play. So if you really want to take advantage of all this stuff, join us at Patreon. All right, so let's take a look at that. This arrangement came up with my band in Austin, and I was playing at this club sort of every week. Right before I moved back to Brazil for a couple of years, then I came back here. We were playing every night, and one time, I just kind of came up with this pedal idea, because Giant Steps is such a powerhouse. Right? You have so many frantic chord changes they have to account for, right? That my initial idea was, what could I do to do something different than what people usually do, which they want to play fast, of course, and then some people try it slow. You can put pedals, you can do all kinds of things, right? So what my approach was actually, just do some kind of dull, really static pedal, in which the melody will, take itself through that pedal, right? So this was like an F sharp pedal thing that I came up with, Right? So my initial idea was play the melody through that pedal, and of course you're gonna hit some, tough spots. So that was the idea. So that kind of gave me some kind of like F sharp sus flat 9-ish type of sound, like this kind of thing, like. So this was kind of the chord that kind of generated this whole arrangement, right? And with that, I created this audio material which complements the Giant Steps melody, which came up from this sort of pedally F sharp, sus flat 9 sound. So I came up with this. And you see that I'm always leaving the G hanging to create this, uncomfortable, kind of unsettling sound, because that was the idea, right? So right? And then the melody of Giant Steps is presented with this scenario, which is a very kind of dark, awkward kind of thing, but I really liked it because it was so different than anything else. hit that, and then it just kind of became a kind of backbeat, you know. So much room to experiment that if you're a drummer, so much room to kind of play on that, but that was the idea, just to have this kind of you know, major Frisian type of, you know, sus4 flat 9 vibe, pedally F sharp, right? This is a huge name, but I just came up with this name, right? But this was my idea. I wasn't really thinking of like, okay, I'm gonna put this chord and this chord. It's just like pedal, ecstatic idea, then play around with that. Came up with this riff, right? This secondary material, right? That idea. Then, you know, then I came up with ideas, and, you know, I was playing this stuff all the time with my group, and then we kind of expanded the arrangement, and there was a bass solo that happened here over this, you know, pedal, right? And then here comes the part that the arrangement kind of, you know, gets sent off to a different thing. So we're gonna use this. I use this material to start changing the bass and creating different chords. So this idea, each part of this fragment was assigned a bass, which then sort of implied a chord, right? And then you don't really know when you listen to it, because everything's kind of this weird pedal. But then later in the song, it gets revealed, and then the listener will say, "Oh, that's what these chords were about," and then kind of jam on that, right? So on the recording, you have the amazing Justin Vasquez on saxophone. It's a really musical compadre of mine. I've been playing for a long time, many years. So he went down to Brazil at the time. I recorded this album in Brazil. This album called Connections. Link here in the description so you can listen to it, and also link so you can follow the video. So it was videoed as well. So so after I do a solo as well over this F sharp after bass solo. I guess the approach was, okay, what were you thinking when you soloing for that? Like, so many things, because this such as free for all kind of territory. You can hang with, you know, just regular, you know, Mixolydian, you know. Of course, I had to do the flat 9, right? Right? And the flat 6 as well, flat 13. Right? So basically, I was thinking of B harmonic minor, basically, right? So to catch all those notes that I was talking about. So B harmonic minor was kind of the basis for what I was going for at some point. Right? But I was using different sounds too, so I was superimposing like a G diminished major 7 sound over that chord. So I was also playing around with the diminish. So I was doing this because also I wanted to play with this third, like duality, like major third, minor third. They both kind of work in the context. So I was doing this in right. That's why I was like. I was playing with that diminished sound. Right? So I was playing with that. Also some triads, you know. I was playing C major over here. to get this sound. Right? I was also playing D major at points to get this, you know, superimposing triads, right? To get these kind of chords. Right? So I could at times treat it as some kind of outright chord too, but I was mostly going for diminished kind of sound here and like B harmonic minor type of sound, right? And of course, I was thinking of the progression that I'm gonna present to you guys later, coming up. I was already superimposing that with the phrasing, and I'll come to that right now. So after that, I started like setting up the next section. So I was playing that figure again, that the secondary melodic material. Everybody join me, and I'm still in pedal, and then we release the beast, right, which is the progression is allowed to happen, because the whole arrangement I'm like just kind of holding everything and just getting everything tense, like do 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 do, with this minor second thing. It's like building a lot of tension on purpose to get released here. So we expose this melody again, but now with the chord progression that is supposed to be. And then, that's what it was. So that's the got you moment, right? So I'm going here. Then, that's a cool progression, I must say. So, A13 can be like an E minor 11 with B on the bass. C sharp half diminished. Sometimes I use the 9 as well. D major 7 sharp 5, right? So if it just fits perfectly with this bass, with this material, and the bass is delivering the actual progression that no one is expecting, because we have been building this tension. It's like, man, like tense, and then there's like a big roller down. And then there's a saxophone solo, and then Justin Vasquez just kills it, playing so beautifully over those changes. Another cool thing is that the F sharp pedal thing that I was, playing through the whole thing, it still kind of kept as a top note of all the chords, because you have this. That's another glue, right, for the arrangement. To have that pedal being part of the chords. You know, the chord moves, but the note is still there, giving, you know, some kind of building some kind of bridges and relations within these parts, right? And I try to play that note on top when I'm accompanying, right? So in terms of blowing over this tune, this part, right? Just a, you know, good oldie Mixolydian, right? You can still kind of play it actually. Play the same scale over the next chord, right? You can think of E Dorian, but it's just the same scale, right? The same sound. And then here, I'll do the classic, the Locrian 9, Locrian 2/9. You can use the 6th mode of the melodic minor, right? So here, I'm playing E melodic minor over this chord, right? Or Locrian 9, if you think like that. To get the 9th and 11th in the sound, right? And then here, I got the Lydian sharp 5, right? The sort of the 3rd mode of the melodic minor, I think. That's correct, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Right? So on this chord, I have, you know, D major 7 sharp 5, so I'm gonna use the Lydian sharp 5 thing. So I'm basically playing B melodic minor on top of this chord. Right, on top of this chord. So you have this the sharp 5 and the sharp 4. And I'm also using the shape, the 1-2-5-7 shape thing that I use all the time. I talked about it in past episodes. Part of the kind of the language that I like to use. I'm superimposing this sometimes. See this shape, and just to use this a lot too. So like arpeggiating this chord. See this structure. On top of this. That's kind of like I would approach, because sometimes I solo over that part as well when I'm playing trio. And when Justin plays, he blows on that section. Then whoever is soloing calls that the melody again, you know. Repeat that. And then the cool part is that to the end of it's kind of like a train, right? A freight train that you have been building this tension, and then you release it so the train starts moving, and then it's just going straight into, you know, whatever. So basically we keep building the energy up since we release the chords, right? So we keep playing this, right? And then the cool thing is that I'm then superimposing the giant steps melody on top of this melody. And there were some moments that they really clash, but just on purpose to get this, superimposing ideas to bring the melody of giant steps back to actually finish the song. So we playing this. Kind of relaxing, but that relaxing with a minor second is not really relaxing. You relax with your eyes open, kind of like, and then I just play that sequence, those structures with the bass. And then I end. And then I end in that shape again that I'm using, the 1, 2, 5, 7 shape. That will kind of generate a F sharp major added fourth to the chord, right? So both third and fourth in the chords. So that's how the arrangement ends, right? So that's kind of how the arrangement ends. So this is the idea for this giant steps arrangement. My go-to was to what is the opposite of what the song is telling me, whatever everybody is doing already so much is actually going through all those crazy changes. So I kind of went to the opposite way because that's what seems that I was hearing at the time. So I actually stalled everything into a pedal that is very tense and build the attention, create this support melody to giant steps melody again, and then that later is revealed that melody actually comes also with a package. It comes with chords that release that tension of the F sharp, and then but still the F sharp is on top of all these chords, so you preserve some of those ideas. So this is all kind of arrangement ideas that you guys can use when you do arrangements and composition and stuff like that. All right. There's a really old video also of me playing with an 8-string guitar, playing through a loop. I did this as well, and then I just kind of play around a little bit, just as a solo guitar arrangement. I'm gonna link that here in the comments as well, so you can take a look. But just to tell you that the initial arrangement was for a band, kind of quartet, quintet kind of thing, right? There's some live videos of me playing that arrangement on YouTube. You can find on my channel some live shows when I'm playing that on several shows. So you can dig up some of my channels over there. But the original, like the official version, is this one from the Connections album that I linked here as well. Right? So this is the anatomy of a song of this week, episode 59 of the Speaking of Harmony podcast. I hope you liked it. I hope you thought this was useful. And there's a bunch of things you can use in some of those principles that you can use on your own compositions or arrangements. Right? I really hope you enjoyed that, and keep suggesting it. People seem to be interested in this kind of content, so I'm definitely gonna keep doing it, as I'm having fun also while I'm doing it. I really appreciate if you guys support the channel by subscribing to it and hitting the notification and all that stuff. And also this is all my social media stuff. And again, I'm building a nice community on Patreon. If you want to join us, you get this kind of stuff, but with more detail, because I record lessons, just diving in specifically and telling them, and people have questions and I address them, and I give them support material like PDF, this arrangement. All the patrons will have the PDF of this arrangement so they can play the song and all that. So if you really consider supporting my videos and help me out to keep putting this content out, you should definitely join us at Patreon. We're having a lot of fun there. The link is here to join Patreon. It's very small fee every month, so you'll be able to take a lot of content, I must tell you. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next one.